I fall into that all of the time. Like, I'm always like, what if I did this? What if this never happened to me?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Russ Milheim from The Direct. Thank you so much for talking to me today about the movie.
No, of course. Thank you so much for talking to me about the movie.
Of course. Yeah, you're great in it.
Thank you.
My first question is actually, you and Mason Thames are both great in it, and the chemistry there is really awesome and it's palpable. So can you talk about just working with him to establish that dynamic and like what you guys might have done like on and off set to really make that relationship come alive?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like really, it wasn't that hard to have good chemistry with Mason. It was very fun, and we were also so like, Mason's like my favorite person. We were best friends for like a year prior to shooting. So it was just like almost weird that we were working together. So yeah, it was really fun and really easy to snap in and out of that. We had such a blast like playing these characters together.
Yeah. The movie also, it tackles some very complicated subjects. You know, and like one of the things is like that question of like, okay, did I end up with the right person? It's a very deep question.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how the movie kind of explores those things and why you think it elevates the story it's telling?
Yeah, well, at the end, like this is a romance movie, but also this movie's tackling like so many insane like traumas and massive events, and I think that it just makes it more complicated and beautiful and more human because life is so messy and all of these relationships in this film are so messy and so complicated. So to me, I guess it makes it, obviously not all of us can relate to how big of an event this is, but I think that we can all relate to feeling as messy and complicated as these characters feel in a lot of these scenes and moments and stories that play out. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that it was beautiful and beautifully written and told by Josh.
Well, I know one of the things that that connected with me was that question of kind of like, what if? How if things played out differently? It's definitely a crux for me personally. And like for you, is that something that you've ever gotten lost in and just kind of bogs you down? Because I feel like it's a deep hole to fall into.
No, all the time, and especially in this industry where it's like, what if I got that role? What if I didn't do this? What if I would have gone out for that? What if I pushed a little bit harder? It's like, yeah, I could fall into that. I fall into that all of the time. Like, I'm always like, what if I did this? What if this never happened to me? But this is like my takeaway that I always keep on saying in these interviews is that I find instead of like looking back on the what ifs and I regret doing this or I wish this never happened to me or all the things that I think back to that like I'm embarrassed of or make me feel icky that they happened, I just try to think about them like sometimes it's hard to say everything happens for a reason, but everything in my life that happened to me or that I've done that I've been embarrassed of or that I wish I would have done differently, I just try not to look back on it or in that way or regret it or at least learn from it. That way, it's just like everything that's happened in my life has made me who I am today, and that's something that I want to be happy with and proud of. And at this moment in my life, I'm like, I am happy with that. So I'm like, everything that's happened, I can't look at it as a what if or I regret that. It's just more of like I've learned from it, and I am who I am today, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you, I want to squeeze in a quick off-topic question for you. You led some Ghostbuster films.
I did.
It's been a second, though.
It has.
Have you heard anything about maybe something else happening? And what would you hypothetically want to do next in that world if you do get to pick up that proton pack again?
I would love to play VV again. Like, I really hope that I genuinely know nothing. If I did, I'd probably be a little bit more like, I don't know, like maybe, you know, like I'd be so annoying and actory about it, but I genuinely don't know. I would love to play Phoebe again. Those projects were such a dream for me, and I'm like so emotionally attached to Phoebe. That's like my, you know, but no, I'd die to do another Ghostbusters movie, and I don't even care what the story is. I'm just like, put me back in the proton pack, put me back in a jumpsuit. I love it.
Dude, I see Venom and Carnage behind you, which I like.
Yeah. That's a Star Wars.
Or is that Maximum Carnage at the bottom?
It's Carnage from the movie, but you know, that's the only Carnage they've made. So.
Yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing very well.
Again, congratulations
No,
on the
thanks,
film.
man.
My first question is, there's a lot going on in this movie. Obviously, there's these intense love stories that are kind of the key focal point, but you also have to balance weaving the thread of, Clara and Morgan's mother-daughter relationship. Can you talk about how the movie is able to balance those without ever losing one at any point?
Well, I mean, I've really always made movies that were coming of age movies, pretty much everything I've made. And my first movie is similar to this in the fact that it follows a divorced couple, Greg Kinnear and Jennifer Connelly, and their two children, Nat Wolff and Lily Collins. And it's like, it's similar structurally to this. And like when I read this all these years later, I think I was attracted to it partly because it was something that I'd done before to some degree or another, but it had been a long time since I'd done it, and I was excited to tell another movie about that and to find a story that kind of crystallizes that moment in a young person's life where they find out that their parents are fallible and human and, had dreams before they ever existed. And, just all those things that I feel like everybody has to deal with at a certain point in life with their parents.
The movie also asks some really hard questions and explores difficult topics, such as kind of the very real question of, did you end up with the right person?
Right.
Can you talk about how the movie explores those tricky topics and how you feel it enhances the story that you are telling?
Well, I mean, it's really just what enhanced Colleen's book. We were just really trying to do our very best job to do a true adaptation of the book so that fans would be happy, that we'd be happy. I tend not to like fan fiction, so I like books that you can actually do the book for the most part.
Yeah.
So, I'm just always looking for a balance between levity, which is like I want people to have a good time, I want them to laugh, I want them to cry, but not just in a sad cry. I'd like them to happy cry at the end. And I wanted to make a movie for teenagers because when I was a kid, 5 movies came out every weekend. There was a movie for teenagers every other weekend in theaters. There were love stories and family dramas and thrillers and science fiction movies. And it's like, it's so rare now that there's movies about people that are in theaters that are released by a major studio. So I'm just grateful that people are so obsessed with Colleen Hoover and her books that it gives you sort of a way to get a movie like this into a theater now. That hopefully moms and daughters will go see and will be a little bit of a different thing from kind of the other stuff in the theater for the most part.
Real quick, I want to ask you the New Mutants.
Yes, yeah.
With what you did there, Marvel Studios is getting closer and closer to introducing mutants properly in the MCU. Is that an IP that you would love to revisit over there?
It's so hard because it was so traumatic because the studio was sold and we hit a pandemic all kind of before. The studio was sold during the shooting, and then the pandemic happened when they decided to release it. And it just was such I had a wonderful time. I love the cast so much, but like making that it took so many years, and it was so unfulfilling ultimately because we didn't really get to make the movie we wanted to make. We sort of made half the movie we wanted to make. And the release was so compromised by the pandemic, like I'd rather just never, rather never do it again. Just to be
fair.
honest.
Well, so last time we talked, it was at South by in
Yeah.
Austin. Yeah. And now I'm over in another trip in New York, hoping that my hotel Wi-Fi lives up
Come on, jet
to the
setter.
task. Yeah. But, congratulations on Regretting You.
Thank you.
You're great in it. And it's a ton of fun, which is weird to say for a movie that is very serious.
I know. It's so funny because like every day I'm on set, I was laughing. But like, and then I watched the movie, I was like, oh my God, it's a sad movie. I was in a completely different movie. I was in a comedy. And
Yeah.
very
Hey,
interesting.
that's how you had to live life. You're always in a comedy.
I know. Always on the comedy side.
Well, so the movie, obviously, there's two major love stories
Mm.
in the film, but you get to have that third one. You get to sneak in there. You get your own little story. So what was it like being like, hey, I get my own story in this too?
I love it. I mean, like, I think it's very high school. It's just like, it was a very like genuine, sweet relationship, like a puppy love thing. And Ethan, who played my love interest, coolest guy ever, loved that guy. We always like us four, me, Mason, and Ethan. Oh, me, Mason, Ethan, and McKenna. All of us four, we were like a little friend group. So it was just fun to hang out and like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a good time.
I mean, I can't imagine it wasn't a good time. So, as we mentioned, the movie is a very serious film and it has some like really serious topics. Asking questions like, how do you know if that relationship that you're in is the right one? What if? Can you talk about how this movie does explore those really deep, messages in unique ways while also not getting too lost in that weight?
Yeah. I feel like because there are so many specific things that are causing tension, those are like touchstones and touch points for like such a big idea. Because to touch on like the general mother-daughter relationship, what does that look like? And like what does your first love look like? To then like having these big ideas being brought in and tethered to like these really huge betrayals and events, like that kind of gives a real nice structure almost. Like Colleen, I mean, she's just a storyteller at her core. So like the way that she like laced these things together, interweave these ideas together was just so intricate and specific. And I think that the more specific you get, the more relatable things are, weirdly. But yeah, I think that it was such a lovely exploration of things that a lot of people can relate to with an event that very few people can relate to. I hope.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was telling McKenna that it just that concept of what if is something that I struggle with in life, and it's kind of a crux. How does that how does that affect you on like a day-to-day basis?
Oh my God. I mean, I think that I am a big overthinker. So like what ifs are something that like permeate my being. Like, oh my God, I had a croissant this morning, but like what if I got that? Oh, would I have more? Would I have enjoyed my morning a little more? So like there's like that overwhelming question, like, oh my God, did I make the right decision? But then to like set like a friend once told me, like, yeah, I think you need to meditate away from that decision. It feels like the choice has been made. And like if you keep on asking all these what ifs, what ifs, what ifs, then you lose yourself in a timeline that never existed, rather than living in the present moment, which like that is something I struggle with. But then there's also like that gut feeling like um there's always the opportunity to try again. Like even if you are regretting a decision, regretting something that you did, like I feel like it's so um like yeah, life is short, but also life is really long. So like the decision that you make, there's always room to make a new one. So like
Hmm.
start over. And I think that's something that the movie really touches on of like, yeah, you made this decision once, you can start again. Life doesn't end at 20. Life doesn't end.
Yeah.
Life is life is short, but life is also really long. So like enjoy it. And yeah, I love that.